How are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. Have you ever made the mistake of sleeping with a man before you're actually ready? What if I told you that even though all hope feels lost, it is still possible to gain your power back if you follow this very specific strategy? If you want to learn what that strategy is, then join me on today's show where we'll be discussing what to do if you sleep with a man too early. That way, not only will you be able to recover some of your dignity back, but you might even be able to get a great relationship out of it in the end. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Welcome to the show, all you beautiful people. I hope you're all doing so well because it is so good to see you here. All right, who we got up in the chat today? So we got Under Chastity here, we got Lena Leak here, we got Zyri here, we got Go Plans here, we got Red Bird here, Adorable is here, Poets is here, Rebecca is here, Jess is here, Brie is here. Welcome all you beautiful people in the TikTok chat, and of course we have our moderator Scotty Shreese NSH here. Who we got over in the YouTube chat? I see we got Kayla here, Lotus is here, Mary's here, Viola's here, Ziana is here. Okay, who else? We got Tessa is here. Tracy Niles, I know, is one of our amazing channel members and was here like right away early on. Nicole, one of our amazing channel members, is here. Of course, Essa is here. We got a Great Fortune Cookie, one of our amazing channel members is here. Is Ivy here? I don't know if I saw her name here. We got Null here, one of our biggest participators in the chat. Welcome all you beautiful people. I'm so glad to see you in the YouTube channel. Of course, we have Missy America holding us down here. Let's get started today. I know this is quite a sensitive topic for some of you. Let me know if you've ever been in this position personally, whether you're in it now or whether you've been in it before, where you slept with a man, okay, not that, we all make mistakes. You slept with the guy and then afterwards you realized, I think this was probably not the right time, okay? Because I'm sure you've all been here, which is exactly why we're having the show today. I want to address this, and I haven't seen a lot of people address this topic here, okay? So we're kind of going to be helping you form a step-by-step strategy on how you're going to do this the right way, in a way that will at least show you some sort of success, okay? So we're going to start off with framing. Now, what I want you to do is understand that framing is the beginning and one of the most important parts to the process here, okay? Now, the reason I say this, and I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a visual, and we're gonna break this down here. The reason I say this is because framing can really determine your results here. So we have to imagine you here, and let's imagine two different scenarios of you here. You guys know my drawing not very good. Today, I decided that you have curly hair today, all right? That's the look that I'm going for you, that I'm styling you with. And we have you here, one version of you super happy, and one version of you is super duper sad. Now, the reason I'm drawing these two different versions of you is because this can become the mistake that you make in the framing that you present to the guy after you slept with him. So one of the most common ways that you're going to make the mistake of framing this situation is that, oh my goodness, I made a horrible mistake. Okay? Because that's what you're thinking in your mind. You're thinking, oh my gosh, Tomisin, I wasn't supposed to sleep with him. And now that I've been watching your show, I've been realizing so much and I've been learning so much. And I now know that I don't have any clarity in this relationship. We don't have any direction here. He basically wants to be friends with benefits. And now I don't know what to do because now I can feel things changing, right? I can feel the way he treats me changing. I can feel the way he goes about this relationship changing. He's not as consistent with me and everything is starting to fall apart. This was a huge mistake. But this is a mistake to present it to him as if I made a mistake, because what you're inclined to do is to come to him and tell him how this was a mistake to sleep together. I know you're trying to be honest, but what I'm trying to help you understand is this is not the way we want to frame it. Because remember, perception is everything. And when the guys are dealing with you in a relationship, they're always perceiving how you act and respond to them to gauge what your level of value is. Okay, I know it sounds strange, but let me break it down a little bit further to you. When you come up to him and you present it as a mistake, right? What you're going to say is, oh, we shouldn't have done this, right? Because maybe you feel guilty or you feel like it wasn't the right time or whatever the case may be. You might also actually say, right, this was too early. And I'm talking about say all of this stuff to him, right? You might actually tell him, I think that it wasn't the right time and I think that we did this a little bit too early, right? You might also tell him, right, we don't know each other enough. Okay? All of these different ways of framing this as a mistake is a mistake. Because now what you're actually showing him in spite of the fact that you think you're just being honest and letting him know how you really feel, you're actually ending up showing him that the boundaries that you set for yourself, the self-respect that you want to have, the way that you want to be viewed, you threw all of that out of the window in order to feel good in a moment. Because never forget, guys will take opportunities as they present themselves. It's up to you whether you want to enforce those boundaries or you want to let those boundaries be willy-nilly. So if you make the mistake of actually letting those boundaries be willy-nilly and just going by how you feel in the moment, we don't want it to make it seem like you let go of those boundaries because you're sending the wrong message and setting the wrong precedent. That, hey, if I want something or I have something that's a boundary for me, or a limit for me that I don't want to do or is not okay with me, that means that that is a limit and that is a boundary, period. That doesn't mean that that's only a boundary until you can convince me to not make it a boundary anymore, right? It sends a message that you're a pushover if you had a thought in your mind that, hey, this is not the right time, or maybe we need to get to know each other better, but still you weren't able to stop yourself and stop him from actually allowing the situation to escalate, right? It doesn't send the right message as it relates to your own willpower. Okay, so what we want to do instead of framing it as, oh, this was such a mistake, okay, and telling him how bad this was, what we want to do is we want to we'll describe this as, let me draw this right. We want to refocus, okay? That's the way that we want you presenting this whole concept. Because you slept with him, yes, and obviously it was too early, so you don't want to be doing that anymore. But you also want to come up with a reason that seems very logical and sane of why you don't want to be sleeping with him anymore. Because at the same time as you not sleeping with him anymore, you still want to get and receive investment from him. So you're kind of doing two things simultaneously. You're backtracking because you don't want to be giving yourself away for free anymore. But at the same time as you're backtracking, you still want to make sure that he stays invested in you. Not becomes frustrated that he says, oh, we already slept together, now why are you setting rules? What's the problem now? And then everyone's a little bit confused, right? We want to refocus things. Now I know, usually I'll always tell you that it's the guy's job to provide you clarity and the guy's job to tell you what he wants and things like that. But in a situation like this, you gotta take control of the narrative, okay? If you've lost your power, what you're gonna notice is some of the things and the strategies that I tell you to use, we're gonna kind of switch these strategies up because you're going to have to accomplish a totally different goal and you can't afford to allow narratives to take shape that you're out of control of, okay? So what you're going to be doing in terms of refocusing, right? You're going to make sure that the sleeping with him, right? Was, I'll even put here to just make it nice and simple, okay? We're going to say here, it was not a mistake. Please, first things first, in terms of presenting this the right way, when we're trying to refocus this, you are not presenting this as if, oh, your persuasion, your charm, your personality took me over. It hit me like a wave. And because you're so charming and so magical, I originally came here without the intention of sleeping with you, but your charm made me spread my legs wide open and allow you to jackrabbit yourself inside of me. Do not boost his ego by doing that. You might be thinking you're being honest with him. You're actually just boosting his ego and reminding him how amazing he is and how charming he is, that he could actually take you from not wanting to do something to wanting to do something, okay? So you don't send that message. You're going to make it seem like I did what I wanted to do, okay? And I knew what I was doing in the moment. Now, what you want to do in terms of refocusing, you're also going to acknowledge, right, the other great parts of, we'll just put here, the relationship. Now, the reason I say that is because we're going to be strategically redirecting energy. That's why it's called refocusing, right? We're going to be redirecting energy into the place that you want it to go, which is not on you guys sleeping together a whole bunch. It's on investing in each other and learning each other, right? So now when you're actually going to sit him down, we want to refocus this into the parts of the relationship that you like, specifically the parts as it relates to you guys getting to know each other, okay? So let me even be more specific, because I didn't mention this earlier, and I actually want to make sure that we mention this. This should be a sit down conversation, okay? Please, I beg of you, if you're actually serious about getting your power back in this sense, if you're actually serious about getting him to properly invest in you despite making this mistake here, you need to make sure that you have a serious sit-down in-person conversation with him so that both of you are clear on what is going on, what is to happen, and why it's happening. The reason I say that is because I don't want you allowing him to go on in this relationship wondering why you're not offering yourself freely to him like you once were. I don't want him to be frustrated with the fact that you're not offering yourself freely to him like you once were, and then stop investing in you, right? We want to do multiple things simultaneously. We want to let him know that you love and care about this relationship and you like where it's going, and that it wasn't a mistake to sleep with him, right? But we also want to make sure that he's clear on why he's not going to be getting free access to you, but it's not because he's never going to, or because you don't like him. Why? Because we want to continue encouraging him and motivating him to pursue you, okay? So this is a sit-down, in-person conversation, not over the phone. Don't even bother asking me, can we ask this over text? No. Can we call about? No. Can we FaceTime? No. Can we Instagram? No. Nothing. No Snap? Nothing, okay? No Telegram? What? Nothing, okay? Only in person. Why? Because this is a very delicate conversation. You're trying to do something very specific. We need him to see your face. We need him to see your body language. We need him to receive you as a whole human being so that he knows how serious you mean by this, and it's not a cop-out or anything like that, and how important this is to you, okay? We need to be very clear on this. Do not attempt to do this over the phone in any capacity. It will mess what you're trying to do up, okay? We're refocusing our energy and channeling it and redirecting it by letting him know how much you enjoy the process of getting to know him and learn more about him, okay? Learning is the main focus and focal point of all you're doing here, right? You're going to be letting him know, I want to learn more and more about you. And that is my goal here, okay? So sit down conversation. You're not presenting it as a mistake, and you want to make sure that you're focusing on this very clear, important part of where you're trying to go, okay? So let's hop into a little bit more of the details here and the weeds here so that you can get this right. You can get this really right, all right? Because you've been making a lot of mistakes if you're at this point, right? And you're trying to recover. It's a very, very specific strategy, okay? All right, let's hop into point number 2, okay? Now, point number two. Point number two is about clarity, okay? Now, you have energy here, okay? Your energy is flowing in a particular direction, okay? So let's imagine for this scenario here, your energy is all flowing in this direction here towards the magic kingdom of SEX, okay? Now, a lot of this energy has been flowing towards sleeping together because now that you've opened Pandora's box, what do you think the number one focus of this guy is going to be? It's going to be sleeping with you, okay? Let's just be so for real. Now that you've done this, right, he's now going to be thinking, how can I continue to extract sleeping with her from her all the time, a lot of the time, while also putting in as little effort as possible. This is the exact moment where a lot of guys get lazy and complacent. Now we want to essentially take this energy that is and has started flowing towards sleeping together and pineapples, as we would say on the show, and we essentially want to cut that off, okay? We want to cut this off, and we want to start redirecting this energy to flow in the direction here of learning, right? And the learning that I'm trying to discuss with you here today is the learning of each other, right? Learning and growing in your understanding of each other, what your likes and dislikes are, where we're going with each other, how much we like each other, where we want this relationship to end up at, all of these things, right? The process of learning that human being, that's where you want to redirect the focus. So now you're going to be doing multiple things at once. Remember, I told you, you're going to sit him down and you're going to provide him with some clarity. I know that I never tell you that you should be the one providing clarity, but remember, in this situation, you've messed a lot of things up. So now you're going to have to do a lot of recovering. You need to be the one now providing the clarity. We're not going to be doing this sleeping together. I'm sleeping over at your house. I'm spending all night here, all day here. I'm doing this with you and that with you. We're watching Netflix as our dates, right? That aren't really dates. And I'm paying for your Uber Eats. You need to cut all of that out, right? You're not going to do it in an abrasive, masculine way. You're going to do it in a feminine, suggestive way. About how much you enjoy this relationship as it relates to learning each other and understanding each other better, okay? Now, remember, one of the key elements here is you don't want guys to feel like this is never coming, okay? You have to always make him feel like this is a possibility, right? But it will be even better if you guys, instead of focusing just on that, you can go to learning each other and then come around and connect here with having, sleeping together, having sex together, okay? Because it will be so much more of an explosion and so much better of an experience if you guys can take this route of learning and understanding and growing with each other and then come around to sleeping with each other. Okay? You have to make it seem like we're building together as a team to have the most positive, amazing experience for both of us. Okay? This is very important. You don't want to frustrate guys and, especially with your indecision here. Okay? And this is not to diss you or, be mean to you, but if you've made that mistake, it's going to be very frustrating to guys to have slept with you, and then now all of a sudden you're saying, you can't sleep with me anymore, okay? I'm just going to be honest with you. Not that you can't say no, you can, but I just want you to understand you're going to get a lot of negative reactions from a lot of men that way. So we want to redirect it and say, I still am so happy to be in this relationship. I still do love everything we're working towards, and I love the most the parts of our relationship where we're learning each other and understanding each other. Because I know as we're growing our bond together, we can continue to end up in a better place overall. And when we do get here, because definitely we're going to get there, okay, we will both be so much happier with the end result, okay? you're redirecting energy. And see, if a guy is telling you that he's here for the right reasons, and he's telling you that, he really wants to be with you, and he's telling you that he actually wants to build with you, this should not be a drastic disappointment, okay? Because you're not telling him it's not on the table. You're also not telling him it's not on the horizon. You're just telling him that you think it's best for both of you to refocus your energy into the places that will bring you the best result as it relates to this. Very hard to argue with that if his true intention is to build with you, okay? So, clarity is very important. You're going to be providing him with that clarity and understanding of where you're headed, why you're heading in this direction, and what you believe the end goal is, okay? That way, as you operate in some of the other things that I'm going to mention to you after this, he's not confused on why this is happening. Because the mistake is, if you don't say anything and you go from sleeping with him to now not sleeping with him, he's going to think either you don't like him, you're using him, or for some reason you feel like you made a drastic mistake and now everything has gone bad. It's not going to set the right vibes, as the kids like to say, for the relationship. Everyone's going to start being confused. Everyone's going to be a little bit agitated and frustrated, and things aren't going to work how you want them to work. You're trying to regain some leverage here so that you can refocus, redirect, and operate in a way that works for you, okay, while still having him pursue you. Let's hop into our next point. Okay, so we've for now sat down with him and had some clarity. Remember, in person. Remember, in person. Remember, in person. This is not happening over the phone. I have to keep reminding you all of that because I know the first thing you're thinking is, Tomisin, I made a mistake, so I'm going to text him all of it. Please don't. Please don't. Okay. Now, point number three, I should say. You guys aren't going to like this point. Well, I'll say point number 4 you're not going to like, but point number 3 you just may not like a little bit. Oops. All right. Enough messing around here. We're going to have to get very, very serious. Okay? You are done having fun now. I really mean that. No more fun time, no more living in la la land, no more going with the flow, no more enjoying yourself, okay? You're at war, okay? Everyone say in the chat, I'm at war, okay? You're at war because if you're in a position where you now are in a place where you're fighting for your leverage and you're fighting for your power in this relationship, this is war. There's no time for games anymore. There's no time for feelings. I just want to have fun. Fun is over. Okay? You're in a battlefield. Someone just said it, right? Denny just said it. You're in a battlefield. And I really mean that. It's not a joke. Okay? The reason I'm saying this, you now have to start becoming very, very aware. Self-aware, but also aware of your surroundings. You're thinking ahead. So he might ask you something very innocent and say, hey, I love you so much. You're such an amazing woman. And I care for you so much that I want to do something for you. I want to do something really magic for you. I want to cook you dinner. I want to show you how much I love you and care about you by showing you how, good I can cook for you and serve you like a man should. And you're thinking in your mind, oh my God, you want to cook me dinner? And he's going to say to you, yeah, girl, I want to cook you that steak. I'm going to make it nice and medium. You know, like how you like it medium, okay? They have that new show that everyone be watching, Cooking with Kaya, Cooking with Kaya. Well, this one's Cooking with Tommy, Cooking with Tommy. You're going to like this show. I'm going to cook you up a storm when you get to my place. It's going to be real good. I'm going to have the wine laid out for you. I'm going to have the table spread for you, table full, just like you like to see it. And you're thinking in your mind, oh, this sounds magical. This sounds amazing. This sounds so good. But the problem is when he cooks for you, you guys aren't just going to eat steak. You're also going to drink wine. And after you guys drink a lot of wine and eat a lot of steak, you're going to be feeling lazy. You're going to be feeling so good. You and him are going to be having so much conversation, right? So the wine's going to lead to conversation, right? And after you have all these convos, right, you're going to the time's going to fly by. And as time is flying by, it's going to eventually get late. All of a sudden, cooking with Tommy has turned into 1 a.m. And you're still a little bit drunk off the wine that you had, still feeling a little bit of a buzz. So he recommends to you, why don't you instead sleep over? I got some shorts in my closet for you. You want to sleep over? You want to sleep over? You want to sleep over? Me and you have a sleepover? We can have a sleepover? This is very bad. This is very bad. Because now that you have the sleepover, now you guys can cuddle. And you want to know what happens after you cuddle? You start feeling a lot of things poking on your backside. One thing leads to another. And then all of a sudden, you're sleeping together once again. Okay, just like that. So the reason I bring this up is because you are now at war. Every little thing matters, right? You've already lost a lot of your leverage now and a lot of your control. You're trying to regain all of that back. You've already made your first major mistake. We're trying to undo mistakes, not compound them. So at this point in your relationship, you have to be thinking ahead. You have to be very aware of how things can escalate even before they escalate. No more time for you to just be willy-nilly having fun anymore. Because fun easily turns into another mistake. Because I don't want to get mad. I can assure you, once you have this conversation with him, you do all this work to sit down and let him know what you expect moving forward and how you want to move and all that good stuff. Once you have that conversation and then you end up in this situation and then you make the same mistake again, just pack it up. Pack your stuff up, take your toothbrush out of his place, block his number, delete it, and move forward because he'll never respect you after that. Once you have the conversation and you try to set the record straight and then you go on and do it again, right, the next day or the next week, your respect is gone. It's gone. He will never listen to anything you have to say ever again. Any boundary you try to set after that will just be an invisible boundary. So don't even bother trying to entertain the relationship after that. So my reasoning for saying that is there is no more room for mistakes here. Everything that you guys are doing, you have to be thinking, how can this escalate? Where can this end up? Where can this go? Is this a place I really want to be? Is this a place where, the privacy can make it possible for him to make a move on me? You also have to be, we're going to talk about this in the next point, so I won't even say it yet. But you have to be very self-aware of how things can go. And you have to be aware enough to not put yourself in a position that things can go left or right or in any direction that's not the direction that you want it to go in. So that's probably going to mean for you, you're going to avoid going to his house at this point. Just let's be so for real. That's probably going to mean for you as well, you're going to avoid being alone in the car with him. So these long drives, no more of that. I'm sorry to tell you, you're in a position, this is war now. No more long car rides. Those are done. Until you situate yourself and gain your leverage back. No more going over to his house. Definitely no sleepovers. Not a chance. You're not sleeping on his couch. You're not sleeping on the floor. You're not sleeping in a sleeping bag. You're not even going to sleep in the bathroom, okay? No sleeping at his place. You guys should never be sleeping in the same room together. You're not even going to sleep at another friend's house and he's there. No sleepovers whatsoever. Those are done, okay? Because we need to think ahead. Soon as you say yes to one thing, that's how you start saying yes to a whole bunch of other things. We don't even want temptation to be in front of your eyes at this point, okay? Nothing. Because you have to be thinking ahead at how things can happen. So you're probably thinking, well, Tomisin, cooking dinner sounds like a great day. Am I supposed to say no to that? Yes. You're going to say no to any dates that consist of going to his house. And all the rest of your dates, you're going to organize your own transportation. That way, there's no temptation associated with being in the car with him alone, overlooking the city or parked somewhere dark. Okay? No temptation for you. We're going to do you a service, and we're not even going to put you in a position where you have to make a hard decision or say no. Because we know up until this point, you've had a difficult time saying no. No offense, but we want to actually help you win, don't we? So if we want to help you win, we can't put you in a position where you're already going to find it hard to say no. Okay? Let's hop into number 4. Now, I'll be honest with you. Point number 4 is the one that all of you are going to hate and dislike me for. But like I said, if you want my help and you want my advice, this is how you got to go about it, especially when it comes to guys. I'm sorry to tell you. Okay? So if you're in this position right now, unfortunately, you have lost out on some privileges. Okay, I'll be honest with you, you're in trouble. You have no room for error. No vices for you. Okay, now we're going to go through what exactly a vice means. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you why this is the way that it is. Okay, you are here. You are here. And you want to go to a place very, very specific. You are trying to take a very straight path, right? From being you, single, you, to eventually being a girlfriend, right? We'll put here. Not a crime. Okay, you want to get to this destination here. This is your point A, and this is your point B. Problem, though, big problem. There are quite a few things that can get you off of this track here. One of them, I mean, depending on who you are, is we'll put it here so you guys can all understand it like this. No vices for you. You're not getting drunk anymore around him. You're not getting high anymore around him. I don't even want you vaping anymore around him. No altered states around him. Not a single one. Okay? Because anytime you're in any sort of altered state, this is going to make it so much easier to say yes to things. And remember, you're at war. There's no room for mistakes anymore. Someone said, what about being tipsy? No room for mistakes. You're going to be sober. You don't get the privilege of being drunk anymore. Okay? Right? Nothing that's going to put you in an altered state, going to make it easier to say yes. So that means no drinking, and it also obviously means no drugs in any way, shape, or form. Okay? So if you like Molly when you go out, right? You like MDMA, you go out, have a good time. No, none of that for you. You like mushrooms to make you feel good and be more social or take your mind? No, none of that for you. You get nothing now. This is your punishment. You wanted to go there before you were ready. If you actually want your power back and you're serious about that, this is your punishment. No more drinking, no more getting high, no more drugs around him. That way, when you're aware, right, of the place that you're trying to go, you don't let anything sidetrack you from your destination. And I really mean that. These things, right, when you're saying, I want to do this, I want to be a girlfriend, I want him to treat me like this, and all that stuff is good, and I want that for you. But this, when you're on demon time, when you're off of this stuff, it's going to make it very difficult to stay on track. And then you're going to wake up the next day after being on demon time, and you're going to say, damn, I messed up. Then you're going to ask me, well, Tomisin, so I slept with him the first time. Then I watched your show on what to do if you sleep with him too early. I did all of those things, but then I got drunk and then I slept with him again. So what do I do now? And I'm going to tell you, pack your stuff up, okay? Take your toothbrush, take all of your stuff out of his place, move all your stuff back to your place, and block and delete his number, because that relationship is over. The ship has sailed. There ain't no recovery after I already gave you the recovery plan and you done messed up the recovery plan. So the reason I'm saying this is because you have no more room for error, okay? If you really want your power back. There is no more room for any more mistakes. There is no more room to not present yourself the way that you actually want to present yourself and be seen and be treated, okay? Because once you make the mistake the second time, it's friends with benefits at that point. Don't expect him to make you no girlfriend. Now, the other thing that I want to make you aware of, and we have to be honest about here, okay? Because all of us are different, so don't laugh, because I'm actually serious when it comes to this, all right? This is another road that can really get you messed up. And this is honestly not a joke, all right? So this road here, if you are someone who has a monster within you, okay? We're talking about the ovulation monster. And when you start ovulating, right, when you have that time, you can't control yourself or think straight. You start having crazy fantasies. You start messaging people from way back when. You ain't even gonna see him. You ain't gonna spend no time with him. You ain't gonna go on a date with him, not a picnic with him, not a nothing with him. Because if he so much as touches you or looks at you the wrong way, your underwear is wet now. And we're having problems now. Because now all of the blood flow is going in between your legs, not a lot of blood flow in your head now. And you're forgetting everything that I've been telling you, and you're only thinking about the latest Wattpad fantasy that you read the other day, okay? We can't have you in that position of weakness. Just like the drugs and the alcohol, it will put you in a mind frame where you're saying, you know what, I was learning all these strategies, but who really cares? You gotta live life in the moment. No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay? YOLO is a song. It's not a way of life. I promise you, if you live life like it doesn't matter or there's no tomorrow, you will have consequences like there is no tomorrow. Every day you wake up, you'll regret the last day. So when it comes to your ovulation and you have this monster within you that you know speaks to you in certain ways and is on your shoulder telling you to do things that you know you shouldn't be doing, go ahead and just decline any dates at that time. And I really mean this. So if I'm going to get very strategic here. Don't laugh. I'm very serious. Go on your Flow app. Okay? Go on your Flow app. You should know what the Flow app is. If you don't, download it. FLO. Go on your Flow app in the App Store. Download the Flow app so you know what your time is, the time frame in which you'll be ovulating. You get on your Flow app and you mark off your calendar the days that you will be ovulating. Those days, no matter what he asks you, any sleepover, anything going on, I don't care if he says, I'm going to go meet the president today, okay? I don't care if he says, oh my God, someone's coming to drop off $1 million at my house. I need you to help me and take 500,000. For no reason whatsoever will you structure any sort of hangout with him on those days, okay? No reason. Absolutely none. You are not free. Make up something. I don't care what it is. Are not free on those days. So I really mean that. Go into your Flow app and mark those days off, because the Flow app's going to tell you, for those of you who don't know, the Flow app, when you put in your information, it's going to tell you when your next, cycle is going to come. It's also going to tell you the days where you're ovulating. So those days, you go ahead and make sure you mark those off your calendar. Don't even make yourself available to him on those days, especially if you have that monster within you, if you really are serious about getting this power back. If it's not that serious to you, then everything is whatever. But your results will be whatever. Okay? And I'm saying this to you because I'm trying to help you avoid landmines. And from me helping hundreds of women, I know what most of the suspected landmines will be. And I don't want you to make any mistakes when it comes to a very sensitive situation in gaining some power back in terms of not sleeping with him too early and trying to recover what the mistakes you've made, okay? Am I making sense to all of you? I really mean this. It's not a joke, okay? Please, no vices, and anticipate the fact that some things will put you in an ulterior mind state. Great Fortune Cookie says, how do you know this app so well? I know a lot of things about a lot of things. You guys always worried about how I have the information. Just know I have the information. Don't be worried about how I have the information, okay? I ask a lot of questions. I get a lot of information, all right? Don't be worried about how I know that stuff. Let's move on to the next thing, okay? All right. Point number 5, okay? Y'all always worried about how I get the information. Just worry that I have the information, okay? I'm trying to help you. Y'all always wondering where I got it from. I learned it, okay? I went to school. Let's go on to point number 5, which is to let it flow. Now, what I mean by let it flow, okay, we're going to draw out here, the man here, and we're going to kind of look at this like this, okay? So let it flow. You have to understand that at the end of the day, when you're dealing with these guys, and especially when you're in a situation where the man that you want, you've now made some mistakes in the way that you presented yourself. You're trying to recover that because you want him to treat you well. You don't want him to neglect you. You don't want him to, start treating you like he doesn't care about you or stop pursuing you. Perfectly fine. But what you have to realize is, as I give you strategy and I try to advise you on the way you should go and go about things, you need to know that there is only so much you can do before he has to make a decision for himself. And the decision is either to, let me write this better, is either to invest, right? Is either to invest or to just use you for sex. Pineapples, okay? Right? Those are the two of his decisions, right? So he has to be the one to make that decision for himself. Of course, I'm giving you advice. Of course, I'm helping you understand how to position yourself in the place where you have the best chance to succeed. But at the end of the day, when it comes to a man and his pursuit of you, it becomes his choice to decide whether he's going to pursue you or not. So the reason I say let it flow is not in a dirty way. What I mean by let it flow is you have to allow him to make the choice. Once you do all the things you can do to position yourself in the right way and redirect the energy and redirect the focus here onto let's learn each other and better understand each other, you have to allow him to make his own decision on whether he's actually going to be serious about continuing to invest in you, or if he's going to just try and use you to sleep with you. And instead, he's going to say, yeah, I was only really here to do a friends with benefits thing. And now that you're telling me I'm not going to be able to sleep with you after being able to sleep with you the first time, I'm just going to bow out now. Okay. And you have to realize that is also a possible outcome and be perfectly okay with that. What I'm trying to help you with is putting you in the best position to succeed and hopefully see the result that you want. But at the same time, be okay with after you control what you can control, because that's what I'm trying to help you do. After that, you have to let go of the things you can't control. And the major thing in this scenario that you can't actually control is whether he chooses to actually invest in you or just use you to sleep with you, right, for sex. Because at the end of the day, it is his choice. And you're not going to be able to twist his arm or make him see something that he doesn't see. Okay, or make him realize something that he hasn't been able to realize. For some men, unfortunately, what you'll realize is sleeping with him too early already set the table wrong and did everything the wrong way, and now you can't undo it. I can give you the best strategy to undo it and hopefully change your situation, and for some of you, it will work perfectly. For some of you, though, when you try to change this situation and adjust this and do all of the stuff that I said, even to a T, detailed and perfectly, you'll realize that he never had any interest in investing in you for real anyways, and all he wanted to do was be friends with benefits. So the whole idea of you trying to redirect his energy into, oh, now let's focus on learning each other, he'd be like, I don't want to learn anything about you except for your anatomy and how I can stick it in you. Sorry, I said learn your anatomy as if he is actually going to care about your anatomy. No, he just wants to know how he can stick it in you. You don't want to know where the clitoris is and all that other stuff. That's about your pleasure. Okay. So my point being is if he's in that mind state, that's all he's going to care about. So nothing you can say or do or strategy you can use to make him care about that if he doesn't. But if he does want to invest in you and he does like you and he is feeling you, this is a strategy where you can regain control of the narrative and make sure that you don't lose your grip on a guy who was into you, but now is going to start devaluing you if you start devaluing yourself. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, chat. Do you guys have any questions about any of the 5 that we just discussed here today? Okay. By the way, if you guys have missed any of them or you came late or anything like that, don't worry. This isn't going to be gone forever. All of my points are available on my YouTube channel by going onto my YouTube channel. If you're on TikTok, just go above my head on the top right corner of the screen, type in my name, Tomisin. You can just type in my first name, Tomisin. Go into my YouTube page and you'll see me live there. You can rewind all the points from beginning to end, okay? Just for any of you who came late, because I know some of you came late. Does that make sense? Very, very important. And I know that some of you have made this mistake, which is why we're having this discussion today, okay? Mela says, yes, okay, so I can flirt back once and see if he leads again. Well, okay. After you do this thing, because the first most important step is that sit down, right? And providing him with that clarity of why you're not going to be sleeping with him anymore and where you essentially want this energy to go, right? You're not going to say, I'm not sleeping with you anymore. You're just going to mention that you want the focus of the relationship to be on these parts of learning and understanding each other. Then you're going to strategize by looking ahead and not putting yourself in a position where sleeping with him is even possible, okay? That way it doesn't seem malicious, but you also get the opportunity, like when you're not sleeping with him, to not have him, be frustrated that he knows that the focus is on different things. And it's not that you don't like him anymore or don't want to be with him. It's just that you want that focus on the things that you feel are the most important to have a great relationship. Okay. Right. So that's what we kind of want to do simultaneously. But yes, theoretically, after that, you can flirt and you're always going to be gauging how is he responding to what I said, right? How is he responding to this kind of change in direction? Because you are changing the direction a little bit to kind of get a different result. Does that make sense? Right. Samai said I had this problem often. Hey, trust me, we've all been there. We've all been there before. Well, maybe I guess not me. I'm a man, but I get it. I've helped lots of you before, so I understand being there. Right? Doesn't make you a bad person, but we can strategize to kind of dig yourself out of a hole if you've made that mistake. Okay. Someone says, what if he lives far away and I have to come to his place? Then go to his place. Okay. The reason I say that is because this conversation has to happen in person and there needs to be clarity here. And you can't waste any time getting that clarity out and having both of you be clear on what's going on. The reason I say that too as well is because the sooner you provide him with clarity, you can start gauging his response. Because some of you might notice that when you have this conversation with him, you start noticing a change in behavior. Now all of a sudden that he realizes he's not going to be able to sleep with you all the time, he starts pulling back a little bit, maybe messaging you a little bit lesser, things like that. That's where you have to stay firm. I should have actually mentioned that as one of the points, because if you start to notice some of that pullback of energy, you're not going to do any more. Okay, you're not going to push yourself any harder. You're not going to put yourself in front of his face anymore or text him anymore. Once you have that conversation, that is your clarity. You need to then give him some space to see what he does in that clarity. If he chooses to not invest in you or chooses to say, yeah, this is not what I want, I'm not trying to build here, then you have to be okay with the reality that that's what he has chosen and not try to overdo it, right? Or overextend yourself trying to get him to see something that he clearly doesn't want to see, okay? Someone says, why don't discuss it on the phone, because communication. Wait, what? Why don't discuss it on the phone because communication skills are bad? Like, are you saying your communication skills are bad? You don't ever discuss something as sensitive and delicate as this on the phone because you're doing something very. I can't understate the how important this process is to doing it right if you want the right result. You're doing something very pivotal in the relationship. You're taking it from having slept with him to redirecting the entire relationship and saying, we've opened Pandora's box, right? We've done the thing that is like gonna quote unquote like open up our relationship and supposed to be like the next step. I actually want to take a step backwards and refocus on different things to build our relationship up more to eventually get back to that. You need to understand how important and delicate that topic is, because in you trying to explain that, some men might take that the wrong way. Then you're not sending him the right message, right? Some men might hear when you say that, if you're not careful with how you say it, some men might hear, oh, that was a mistake and I didn't want to do it and I regret it, and you're going to be sending the wrong message, okay? Which is not what you're trying to say. You got to make sure that for a conversation as delicate as this, you also allow him to see your face, see your body language, feel your energy, and know that you're here and telling him this, not because you don't like him, but because you want to invest in him the right way. And for both of you to be invested in each other the right way, okay? That way he cannot feel some sort of rejection by you saying, oh yeah, I didn't want to do this, or that was a mistake, or I didn't like this, or anything like that. You don't want there to be a whole lot of friction, especially coming from a place right after sleeping with each other. You understand what I'm saying? That's usually the place where a lot of that friction starts anyways, and a lot of that misunderstanding starts. You definitely don't want to add to the misunderstanding by texting him something as important as this, or even being on the phone. You don't want to risk sending the wrong message here at all, or a miscommunication at all, okay? Drish says, this is literally happening to me right now. Exactly why we having this conversation. Someone said, what's the conversation about? Today's topic of discussion was about what to do if you slept with him too early, okay? So if you missed my points and you're on TikTok, you just go onto my YouTube channel. It's just Tomisin, Atobatele. Just type in my first name, Tomisin. And on my YouTube channel, you'll see I'm live there as well. You can just rewind it if you really want that information, because we had a great show about that information today, okay? Drish says he came to my house and left a note. I've been listening to your videos for days. Oh boy, okay. You in quite a conundrum. Flower says, Thompson, the first video I ever saw by you was in detail about how desperate guys are for pineapples. Do you remember the exact title? And tell us here, please. I've made lots of videos, so I can't remember the exact title. You'd have to tell me the title and the exact topic in what I said, but usually all my messages are consistent with each other. Nicole donates $5 in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much, Nicole. Got him. She says, so if he pulls back, then we let him. We do nothing. Got it. Thank you. Yes, but this specific process that we're doing here in terms of getting some power back after sleeping with him too early is not just the pull back and do nothing, right? You're going to set the stage, bring some clarity here, then you're going to kind of see what he does with that. And you're also going to bunker yourself down to not make any more mistakes. Because if I tell you just pull back and then he starts showing you some interest, showing you some investment, then you go to his house, he cooks you dinner, you get drunk, you sleep over, and then you sleep with him again. Now we're in quite a conundrum here. Because you can't say this, have this conversation with him, and then sleep with him the next day. The other thing that I should mention to you all is when, let's say hypothetically, you have this conversation with him, you gain this clarity with him, and then after you gain this clarity with him, he actually does respond well to you. And he actually just does, treat you well, continue to take you out on dates and tell you that, oh, it doesn't matter whether we sleep together or not. I'm here for you and to invest in you. And you start becoming so mesmerized with how amazing his response is that your response becomes, oh, I didn't realize you would respond like that. You're so kind and you're so caring, that you then say, okay, actually, never mind. I just, I thought maybe you wouldn't take it well. And now that you're taking it so well, I'll just sleep with you. right? And you basically go back on everything you just said because you like his response, okay? You have to understand, regardless of whether he responds well or he responds negatively, you got to stick to your word, okay? And the reason I say that is because sometimes you all get mesmerized when a guy responds how you actually wanted him to respond, or in a good way, or treats you well. Then you start thinking, now I owe you something. So when you do this, and his response is actually mature and positive, you start thinking, well, never mind, I'll just actually sleep with you now because I didn't think you would respond so well. Okay, don't do that. Another mistake. Okay. Esses is going to need to watch this video over and over again. Trust me, this is one of those videos and topics where if you're not currently in the situation, you might be thinking, not a big deal. It won't happen to me. It won't be me. I don't really need to worry about this. But if you're in the situation right now and you're going through it, you're like, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed. So if you're ever in the situation in the future, you can always have this video here to say, okay, I'm very misaligned here. We need to get this back on track, okay? Because I help hundreds of you who are actually in this exact situation. I literally just helped someone earlier today that was in this exact situation. You sleep with them, now you're trying to recover stuff and trying to figure out how you can undo a lot of that stuff, okay? YG asked in the YouTube chat, she says, if a guy asks for distance after a bad third date, okay, my awkward energy unbalanced him and he was already having a bad day, how do we regain power? 2 amazing first dates and an amazing connection. Whenever a guy asks you for space or distance, you give him more than he ever even asked for or could dream of. The reason I say that is because you never, ever, ever, ever want someone to ask you for space and then you smother them in any way, shape, or form. As soon as they ask you for space, you don't even text them. Don't just say okay and never text them back again until they text you, okay? You should be waiting on them to reach out to you. And even better, if they can say, damn, you really didn't talk to me this whole entire time. Then you say, yeah, you asked me for space, okay? Anytime someone asks you for space, you give them even more than they asked for, okay? To the point where they're frustrated or wondering what's going on. Because if you smother someone who's asked you for space, you'll never get the response, especially from a guy that you want, okay? And I'm telling you that as an avoidant, okay? So please, please, please hear that. Flower says, okay, I'll try to find it, Tomisin's video I'm thinking of. I think it was 6 months ago. Yeah, that's quite a while. I was probably sitting on the couch before, like the other couch, right? With no color coordination. I like the color coordination. I'm going to get a different board too. I'm going to get a black board. All right, does that make sense? Dominica says, what if there were no pineapples but something else? Okay, that's a great question, actually, Dominica. If there were no pineapples but you did something else, the same thing applies. Okay, the same thing applies because clearly you're in a position where you feel like the doing something else could have sent the wrong message and now become his focus instead of actually building this relationship. So you still need to realign things and refocus things in order for both of you to be on the same page. Because I'm telling you this as a guy, okay? I'm telling you this as a guy. Once you open Pandora's box, even if it's not sleeping together, even if it's just you spread your legs wide open and he gets to eat you out. I know it's graphic, okay? And he does that. You're sending the wrong message. Because trust me, as a guy, our focus will become every single date getting a little bit closer and closer to eventually sleeping with you, right? If I bury my head between your legs on one date, the next day I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll bury my head between your legs and I'll, put my fingers inside you. Then the next day I'm thinking, okay, I'll bury my head between your legs, I'll kiss you up and down, and then maybe I'll get on top of you naked. Then the next day I'm thinking, okay, I'll do the same thing and then I'll just kind of slide the tip around, okay? And trust me, guys are not stupid, right? They also know how to escalate things and they're gauging how far they can go. So once you let one thing slide, then everything starts slipping and sliding, and then he's sliding himself inside of you. Okay? Telling you this for real. So it can be a mistake even if it's not actually sleeping with him because the guys begin to focus on just that and getting more of that. Okay? Someone said the way my jaw just dropped. We have a lot of real talk here. Real talk here. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff for any of you, okay? Because that won't really help you. No, someone says, Tomisin, could you make a video about how to get a man to be emotionally open and vulnerable. We've kind of had some topics of that, right? How to ask good questions and get a guy open and chatting you. But we might refresh that topic if you guys really want it. I'll put it on the docket list there, okay? Mia says, I took my time with things. He's my full-blown boyfriend. We went on vacation and he acted distant and miserable the whole time. He seemed distant. How do I reverse this? We have already committed, right? If a guy starts acting distant with you, that is your boyfriend or your husband or something more serious than just a situationship, you allow him to take as much distance as he needs, okay? I actually have had a whole show on that, what to do if he pulls away. You let him pull away and take all the distance he needs. If he wants to walk 10 miles away from you, 30 miles away from you, he wants to move to a different country on you, you let him take all of that distance. When he tells you, I need space, you tell him, okay, right? When he tells you, I need to take my time, you take, okay, right? And you don't say nothing else. You don't call him, you don't text him, you don't reach out to him. If you're on vacation together, you don't go see. If he says, I need to go by the poolside and I just need a little bit of a break, I need to take a moment, you let him go by the poolside and you go do your own thing, right? And I'm talking about you do your own thing until he finally comes to you and says, I want to have a conversation. The reason I say that is because you will never get the result you want by smothering a man who has asked you for space. And if you're noticing with his action that he's becoming distant, you don't get the response you want by trying to address the fact that he's distant or telling him that he should stop being distant. You won't get the response you want. You'll actually get the opposite response because he'll know that you're bothered by him being distant and he'll continue to pull away from you knowing that it's going to get your attention and going to get you to beg, right? You're doing two things. You're boosting his ego and then you're also not allowing him the distance that he's asking you for, okay? Which is actually making the process of him being distant so much more intriguing and interesting when you do that. Okay, so please don't do that. Someone said, I would like to hear more if you talked about avoidant men. We had a whole show on avoidant men and how to deal with them. I'm an avoidant man, so I kind of broke it down there. Okay, Esther says, guys get frustrated when they come back because you didn't chase. Exactly. You make it so much less enticing to be avoidant or to be distant when your response is, okay, be as distant as you want for as long as you want. And when you're ready, come back. Like, actually, when you're ready, come back, and I'm not gonna bother you. Then they start saying, well, what's the point here? Because it's not gonna be dramatic. She's not gonna go crazy. She's not gonna yell and scream. She's not gonna beg for me back. So if I'm actually done thinking about what I needed to think about, I'm just gonna go back because there's nothing else to do here, right? And so you really have to zap the life out of being distant or avoidant from men by doing that, okay? All right, chat, let's hop into our next segment of the day, very important segment. This is gonna be our React segment where I react to all of the TikTok videos that you guys have sent me about love life and relationships. And we have some fun with them, have some conversation about them. Hopefully, they're actually serious. Some of you guys just be sending me stuff. I don't know if you're actually serious. Anyways, we're gonna watch those videos together. I'm gonna clean up this board and pull my chair up. While I do that, we're gonna watch an intermission video. By the way, if you have a personal question for me and you wanna ask me a personal question because maybe your situation is very specific and you need my advice on a very specific thing about your situation, go ahead and ask me your personal question by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. Click where it says private relationship advice, and then you can ask your question to me directly. No one else sees your question. Send it to me, type it out, and then I respond with a voice message and I send it back to you directly via your email, okay? So do that now if you have that question. We're gonna watch our intermission video today. Today's intermission video comes from Simone Squared. She's talking about things women should learn from men. Interesting topic here, okay? We'll see what Simone Squared has to say, and then I'll join you guys in just a moment.
Arguably one of the most important. Men do not date for potential, but women date for potential. We will tend to see a man and be like, oh, like, I can really help build him up. Like, he has so much potential to one day be like this and that, and one day be the man that I really, really want. If I just make him go to the gym a little bit, get his bag up, he's gonna be the perfect man. Do men do this? No. They're like, oh, well, I don't like her body. I don't like her face. Like, sure, I can buy her a boob job. I can get her to dye her hair blonde, but I would rather just go get another girl. Men don't date for potential. They are not Bob the Building a woman. They're like, well, I don't like that. I'm not gonna go for that. Women, we have leeway. We give leeway for men. Oh, I like some of the things about him. Not all of the things, but I can work with the other qualities. I'm seriously such a huge believer of not dating for potential. I just don't believe in wasting your time in building up a person, because there is not even a guarantee that that person is going to be what you want one day, or that they, yes, you may see potential, but can they even live up to that potential? If I don't like you, I don't like you. Number 2, men always put themselves first, and they always do what's right for them. Women, we don't. And it's because we're naturally more like empathetic, you know, caregivers, feminine energy, whatever, so we tend to put other people first and not do what's right for us. But men are selfish, and it's not a bad quality to have. If they don't want to do something, they're not going to do it. If a relationship is not good for them at that point in time, they will break up with you. They will end it. Women, they will tend to stay in it, find a way to work around it. How can I fit this relationship into my life? If a man has boys' night on Saturday night, he will not change those plans, but a woman will. Every girl, we know how our friends, when they get into a relationship, they can't hang out because they're spending all the time with their man, and they're changing all the plans with the girls to be with their man. Meanwhile, their man will not change any of their plans. Boys' night is boys' night. Women, we literally will alter our plans around a man, and I feel like half of it's literally just instinctual, like it's how we function. It needs to change. This one can also link to point 1, men don't date for potential, but yes, point 4, men will not try to change a woman. If you ever try to change someone, you are a clown, because people will change when they want to change. Like, people don't change for other people unless they like really, really love you, and if that's the case, you don't need to make them change. The change will just be happening, and you would be seeing it happening. Always keep your options open. I can't stress this enough, and I get hate from men for saying this all the time, because guys, they don't want women to have multiple options. Incels in my comments, they're always like to me, Simone, it's so hard for us to date already. Why are you telling women to date multiple people when we can't even get one date? Your problem, your problem. You want to keep women subordinate and not have options. Why date multiple people? Because if you date or like get into a relationship with the first person you go on a date with, or even the second, you don't even know if they're the best for you. You don't know what else is out there. If you're dating multiple people, doesn't mean you're sleeping with them, you're just dating, not exclusively. Then you can pick the best one. Who do you like the best? It also means you're not going to get attached, and when you get attached, you're blinded. You've got the rose tinted lenses on you, it's already over. Keep your options open. Men do this. Men date multiple people until they are exclusive. One of my friends, she started to talk to this guy, but she doesn't even want a boyfriend. Yet they go on dates 3 times a week. She doesn't know what she wants, he doesn't know what he wants, and they act like a couple, so they're in a situationship, right? And then she found Tinder or like some dating app on his phone.
Our next segment. Thank you so much, Mrs. Simone Square. Such an amazing content creator she is.
And she was like really mad.
Thank you. Let's hop into our next segment.
A lot of women want to know why men don't give them closure.
Hold on. You're okay. You're okay. No, yeah, take a second.
One of the most powerful things you can do is walk away from a man in silence. Bam! You're gone. Every time you send a long message, every time you're yelling at him on the phone, you're showing him that he has complete control over you. He's thinking to himself, this isn't a queen. This isn't a woman with a ton of options. This is my emotional prisoner who I can treat however I want to treat. How embarrassing is that? Even if you do have other options, he doesn't care because all of your energy is being poured onto him. You're showing him that you're in beggar mindset, and all of those angry texts and that yelling is showing him that you're just begging for a drop of his attention. I've known multiple guys who were treating their girl like crap, and the second they walked away in silence, not with a long text message, not through yelling on the phone, these guys lost their minds because the power dynamic changed, and she showed them, these women showed these guys through their actions, you don't want to treat me right, you want to treat me like crap, I'll go bag a king.
I just realized something, chat, that I want to bring to your attention. This is actually so serious, because I was thinking in my mind, what is going to happen with some of these amazing creators that we watch that I believe are American when TikTok goes down in the United States? So I want to mention 2 things to you. Please, for those of you who love me on TikTok and you're American, make sure that you're also subscribed to me on YouTube, because when TikTok actually gets banned, because there actually is a date for it. I'm actually so serious. Like, I was reading up on this. In the USA, TikTok's going to get banned on January 19th. Okay. And the bills are, there ain't no more bills to pass or anything like that. It's like set in stone. So I say that to say, please, if you love watching me and you're on TikTok and you live in the USA, you have to subscribe to me on YouTube, because when it gets banned, I don't know if they're going to just completely delete it from the App Store, or if you won't be able to access your account anymore or have that information to see who you are following. I don't know what the ban will look like, but you definitely won't be able to use TikTok the same way as we were before. Okay, even if you already have it downloaded. So you got to make sure to follow me on YouTube. If you actually want to keep up with my content, that way when January 19th comes, you're not just like shell shocked. Okay. But as it relates to Christian's a great YouTuber. That's what made me think of this, great TikToker. That's what made me think of this, because I don't think he has a YouTube channel or anything, because it would take a lot of energy to do this for like 10 or 20 minutes. But I believe what Christian is saying here is really important, because I talked to you guys about this as well, right? Trying to show men that they should treat you right by telling them how they're treating you wrong. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, okay? And that's the amazing part that I guess is the difference between, a creator like me. I try to help you guys with like the modern relationships, and maybe a creator like Matthew Hussey. I like Matthew Hussey and some of the stuff he talks about, but sometimes I think his advice, and it's not just him, some other people as well, their advice can be a little bit too idealistic. Like in an ideal world, what would we all be doing? Communicating, telling each other exactly how we feel, being super honest with each other. No one has to hide anything. Yeah, sure. In a utopia, that's what we do. But in the real world, that's not what people do. And that's not even what they respond to. Okay, so I try to help you guys from the standpoint of understanding that men don't care about your communication or your bluntness or your honesty or even your feelings. What they respond to is silence and withdrawal, because that's when they know a change needs to be made. It's just the way the world works.
You didn't walk into her car.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a big deal. Walking in the car, that's not a big deal, right?
That's what went wrong. That's why she didn't text you back.
No.
That's an integral step, dude. You have to, especially at night.
He ended the date, and he didn't walk her to the car.
Yeah. But it's like free brownie points. It takes like 10 seconds, and it's like
10
easy
seconds
to do.
Yeah.
Why didn't you walk her to the car?
But he's saying he's not interested.
My car was completely in the other direction.
It doesn't matter if your car's on the other side of the Sahara Desert. You walk her to the car.
But I didn't.
Why not?
Okay, because it was cold outside and it was dark. Why would I want to walk her?
Oh
Your
my
dad
God.
not teach you this?
So she walked in the dark, in the cold, alone to her car. You didn't walk her to her car.
That's a no. That's a no. That's a no. It's okay. He's a boy. He's learning how to be a man, but that's a no. Some boys they don't learn this from there. That's why we need dads. Some boys don't learn this. They don't understand that, right? I agree. You gotta walk her to the car. You can't not walk her to the car because it's cold and dark outside. That's exactly why you do walk her to the car. I was getting mad. Okay, I agree wholeheartedly. Okay, at least they taught him. Now he learned his lesson, but he probably not gonna get her.
Imagine being voted sexiest woman in the world, having anyone you want at your fingertips. You pick a man that you think is a good one, you get pregnant with him, and then you go through his phone. A source claims that over Thanksgiving, Megan was with MGK. She started getting this bad feeling. She decided to go through his phone, and then she found things that ended their relationship. She literally just announced that they're...
What things can she find on a man's phone who she has a blood oath with? You guys think it's a joke, right? I don't like celebrity gossip, but I did see this video the other day. We'll get a little bit sidetracked here. It's okay. We're having
I had the best
fun,
interaction
right?
with a man tonight. I want other men to take
video.
notes. I'm so sorry. I look this way. Just hold on. So I'm standing outside.
See, MGK, Megan,
And
Fox,
I see this guy, and I just compliment his shoes. I was just being
blood
nice. I was like, I love your shoes.
Okay, I'm not joking. They in their relationship, they had a blood oath together.
I'm also 4 years older than him, so I think I made him my thoughts and intentions.
The plot thickens. Just when I thought the drama would subside.
But yes, we do consume each other's blood. But yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes. only. It is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it. He's much more haphazard and hectic and chaotic, where he's willing to just like cut his chest open with broken glass and be like, take my soul, let me bleed on you. It doesn't not happen, let me tell you. Maybe not exactly like that, but a version of that has happened many times. But yeah, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only.
What type of ritual? Anyways, let's not get too sidetracked. It's just,
it is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's...
I found that interesting that they would be in a relationship, take a blood oath,
Imagine being...
and, still not end up together.
She decided to go through his phone, and then she found things that ended their relationship. She literally just announced that they're having a baby together, and then this happens, allegedly. Again, she could have had anyone in the world, and she chose you, and you fumbled the bag. I think all women need to see this. If the sexiest woman alive can be cheated on, if he could decide that he does not want her, then it has nothing to do with you if the same thing happens to you. Obviously, it's not all about looks, but a big thing that people think about when they're cheated on, especially women, is what the other person looked like. They must have been prettier than me. They must have had certain assets that are nicer than mine. But this woman was literally found to be the sexiest woman in the entire world. I'm not kidding. Look it up. The entire world. And this happens to her. My point in all this, if he cheats on you, it is a him problem. He is the one with issues. He should have been man enough to tell you, hey, I don't want to be with you anymore for this reason. For him to go behind your back while you think everything is okay, that man is a coward. Don't let a coward make you insecure. And Megan, who will never see this video, I truly hope that you do not get back with him. You deserve so much better. This baby deserves better. She is more than just the sexiest woman in the world, and there's going to be a man who sees that.
Yeah, I'm not really into celebrity gossip, so they can do what they want with their lives. But the learning lesson is that, yes, the cheating is a him problem rather than a you problem. If he chooses to cheat, I mean, we can all try and understand why, I guess, if you guys just like to understand the inner workings of guys, but you can't use it as I must be a horrible person, or I must not be worth anything if he cheated on me, if other people that are supposedly the top of the top, the prettiest of the prettiest, get cheated on. So I think that is something that you can take away from that and not put so much on yourself if that has happened to you, or your self-worth, right?
Ladies, stop what you're doing, grab your notebooks, and let's learn from this feminine queen, Miss Suzanne, on Later Daters. Listen to this phone call.
So, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Huh.
Well, listen, I just keep thinking about our date and thinking about you and how great that was.
If she's really good at this, you say thank you, right? You act innocent, like, you don't even know why he likes you so much, but you don't overdo it by trying to tell him how amazing he is. If she's really good, that's what she did.
It's fun. God, that was fun.
It was fun. I had a good time.
She's not rushing to fill the space. She is listening. And notice how he said, I can't stop thinking about our date, and I had so much fun with you. The experience of being with a woman is what healthy men are looking for. It's the feeling that they get that they can't have with any other woman. And notice how she allows him to share and gives him that nonverbal and then says back to him, I had so much fun. It was so much fun.
Again?
Sure, I'd love to.
Great. How are we looking this Saturday?
Saturday's tough, right? Georgia's playing, so...
Well, as unfortunate as that is, we can incorporate that in plans.
This woman is a master.
That's an A+ strategy. You guys probably may have not noticed what she just did there, right? So part of being when you're really good, when you're super good at this and dating and being in your feminine energy, you understand that there's so much power in suggestion, okay? especially when you're dealing with men, because suggestion is not control, right? It's not overbearing and it's not forceful. It also allows a man to continue to feel like a man with and still getting what you want. So you accomplish everyone's individual goals. What she just did here is say, okay, you want to take me out. That's fine. I would love to go out with you. You want to take me out on this date? I got a thing going on here, though. She didn't say, okay, I have this thing going on, so that means we should go out at 9 p.m. at this time, and we should go here because that would be a better place to go since I have this to do and I have that to do, and I know you live over here and you can only drive 30 minutes. Suggestion, right? I have this problem. I'm not sure how to solve it. If you're a big, strong, capable, smart man, I'm sure maybe you might have a way to solve it. And what do you know? The guy that likes her solved the problem.
Georgia's playing, so.
Well, as unfortunate as that is, we can incorporate that in plans.
Solve the problem. There you go. She got what she wanted without ever asking him to do that.
This woman is a masterclass. She is receiving. She didn't have to suggest that they go out again. She wasn't desperate. She wasn't thirsty. She wasn't accelerating the conversation. He asked her out and she just said, yes, sure. As she's walking around her home, checking on things, unbothered. Unbothered. She is just receiving and giving good vibes. So then he asks about Saturday, and once again, unbothered, not desperate. She says, you know, Saturdays are tough. She doesn't rush to explain why or anything, just very simple, easy communication. And he goes on to say, actually, that'll work out and I have a plan. You know what I mean? That'll keep everything in mind. And all she responds with is, oh, really? Great. And she's going to make space to hear it. So this is very different than how a lot of women communicate, which is that they start over communicating with men and
over explaining as well, like I talked to you guys about.
Would say, oh, you know, Saturday because this and that and blah, 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 filling up the space and not allowing him to make the decisions. There's a
It's like a dance. I know for some of you, you guys are thinking, oh, there's so much work. Why do I have to think of so much stuff while I just talk to a man? Why can't I just talk to him how I feel like talk? It's a dance. It's a dance. If you want men to become really nice and strong and have that muscle memory as it relates to making decisions and, you know, having a plan and knowing what he wants and, you know, being able to solve your problems, you got to kind of aid him and give him the weights that he can start working out and building up that muscle, right? And that's kind of the dance of, you know, men need women, okay? Women need men, we need each other, right? Because we do things for each other in a very magical way, very spiritual, above my pay grade. And I'm saying that to say, you got to understand, right? When you're in your feminine, in your suggestion, in allowing him the space to be a man, he gets to make decisions, feel like a man, and he builds up that muscle memory to be able to do that on an ongoing basis, okay? And he gets in the habit of understanding how to solve your problems, understanding how to address things, pay attention to your needs, and then you don't have to be in an anxious state where you have to over-explain to get things done, where you have to do all the planning and have to do all the decision-making, where you're so deep in your masculine where you're frustrated, okay? But it's a balance. It's a dance, right? We have to help each other, right? You want your man to be big and strong. You got to let him lift those weights, right? You can't be making all the decisions. You got to be a little bit more suggestive, okay?
And sometimes you got to be careful about who you talk to online. Meet Shane, a guy who found out this girl he liked was talking to other dudes, so he tried to her. But the story is much deeper than that, and it all starts because Shane had a problem. He was playing this online game called RuneScape. Now, for those of you that don't know, RuneScape, super legendary, old school game. This is where he spends most of his time. He don't talk to anybody outside. Cool. He playing the game. He meets a girl. Her name's Farah. She said, what's good? He types in, how do I know you're really a girl? She types back, you're so funny. He says, you want to talk outside on Messenger? Which is kind of like Skype. He says, haha, sure. So they get to talking on Messenger, all that. They cool, they become fast friends. Then Shane suddenly gets in his head, wait a second, if she's talking to me, chances are she might be talking to other people, so he gets instantly jealous. He says, but really though, Farrah, who else you talking to? She said, what you mean? We're not in a relationship or anything. He said, okay. He hacks her computer. And with this hack, he's able to monitor the people she's talking to. He finds out that she is in fact talking to other guys, so he confronts her. He says, aha! She said, aha, what? We're not in a relationship. How did you find out all that? He said, you didn't let me finish. I was gonna say, aha, ha, ha, I hacked your computer. That's a joke. Or I said, and she stopped talking to him. Years later, he hits her back up saying, yo, my fault. I was wilding back then, like I was doing way, 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 way too much. And by the way, to all my young ladies, if you get a red flag that big, block that person and never speak to them again. Anyway, he hits her up, says, yo, forgive me. She says, all right, you got it. Let's talk again. But this time they're a little bit older. They flirting a little bit and all that. He says, man, this is going great.
On the game? On the game still? They're still flirting on the game?
Dudes. But then he says, you know what? I'm doing too much. Let me forget about all that. Hey, it's Christmas, Farrah. Let's send each other presents. She said, cool. They send each other presents. But to send someone presents, you need their address. She sends her address over to him. But she's probably thinking it's cool. They've known each other for years. She lives in the UK. He lives in the United States. He's not that crazy, right? Okay. She then tells him, look, Shane, we got to stop doing all this flirty stuff because I'm Muslim. My parents not going to allow me to, do all this, that, and the third. He says, baby, no. She said, no, don't worry. We can stay friends. He said, that's not good enough. So he hacks her computer. He said, man, that's cap. Look at me. I'm Shane. There's got to be another reason. He finds out that she talking flirty with other dudes as well. He said, aha. She said, did you hack my computer again? He said, oops, I did it again. You play with... She said, I'm blocking you. He said, baby, no. Well, hold on. Remember when I told you they sent each other presents? Well, he got her an Xbox. So he's like, yo, run me my... give me my Xbox back. Now, let me tell you something about a manipulative person who Shane is. He don't really want the Xbox back.
The gamer got her a game.
He's hoping that she don't give it to him so he can have an excuse to be angry. But too bad for him. Farrah seems like a genuinely nice girl. She said, oh, I just sold it to someone online. He said, I knew. She said, but I would love to give you the money, though. She said, so please send me your bank information because it is an expensive gift. He said, she said, go ahead. He said, he gives her the wrong information. He resorts back to extreme jealousy. Why are you over here talking to other dudes, this and that? They get in a huge argument. She says, I'm never speaking to you again. Get out of my life. He says, bet. And here's where things start to get wicked. Now Shane wildin'. He looks up how to get away with somebody. He gets a flight. He flies over to UK with a giant sharp poking item. Now remember, he has her address. So he gets a hotel 20 minutes away from where she stays. He scopes out her spot. He sees, okay, she live right there. He go back home. 3 a.m, he waits in her garden and watches her. He almost thinks about not going through with what he's about to do, but then he looks back at the chats that she was having with those other dudes, and he says, bet. He breaks into her house, jumps on top of her, and starts. But it turns out Shane not like that. Farrah starts screaming. So her brother rushes in and says, word, what's going on? He says, ah. So him and the brother start scrapping. He really gets the brother, like permanently damages the brother's hands. Red stuff flying everywhere from Farrah and Farrah's brother. Their dad, Farrah's dad, rushes in because he hears the brother screaming. We're getting, dad grabs Shane. Brother losing his red stuff. But he staggers up and says, bet, I got some for you. You want to play with weapons? I got some for you. So he goes in his room, grabs a metal pipe from under his bed and says, Pops, don't worry, I got this. Shane, you want to hit me with the 1Vs or what? Shane said, you got something now too. They start boxing. Brother whoops Shane. Shane on the floor saying, yo, I'm done. Brother said, Bismillah. Calls the police. Police come over. Lock Shane up. Farah's brother Muhammad gets an award from the Popo from this. He's in the hospital with Farah for like days getting treated for their wounds. Shane gets taken to hospital too because brother put the pause on him. He says, yo, I was trying to get my stuff back from Farah, so I kind of lost it. You know what I'm saying? The police said, tell it to the judge. Literally. So they go over to the judge. Judge says, what's the problem, Shane? Shane's lawyer said, Shane, don't worry, I got this. Your Honor, Shane was lying. He was really jealous. He wasn't really trying to get his stuff back. Shane's lawyer said. And it also seems he was hearing voices and all that. So, you know. The police come in and say, yeah, Shane told us he was hearing voices at first. But then he told us, okay, the real reason he did all this was because he was jealous. And the voices he was hearing was the voices of other dudes talking to Farah because he hacked her computer. He wasn't insane. On top of all that, he basically left a Google trail of everything he did. Like I told you earlier, he searched.
What did I take away from that story? I took away, get your eye off the games and don't get you a gamer boy. Okay? No gamer boys. No gamer boys for you ever, please, in life. That's what... Very, very tragic. I just don't. I don't like stuff like this because it reminds me that well, people are weird everywhere. Always you have to be safe and be careful of who you're talking to, and it also it gets me fired up because I always talk to you guys about you don't know someone because you have a good conversation with them over text. Like that really could be anyone. You really don't know who that is over the phone. So you never want to feel as if me and this person are a match or get along because, we have good conversation over the phone or we text real good. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean you actually know the person. All right, let's hop into our next segment of the day. For those of you who are OGs here, you should know what is coming up. For those of you who are new here, maybe you don't know what's coming up, okay? But the OG members will tell you we have an amazing time, a very special time. It is a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry, okay? Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your entire home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. Okay, chat, let's hop into our Discord section of the show for those of you who are unaware what that really means. I'm going to explain this to you and how this exactly works, okay? Discord time is a time in our segment of our show where all of our amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their situationship or their relationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, there are a few different ways that you can send in your question. I'm going to explain to you those ways right now. You can either send in your question to our free relationship advice forum, okay, which is available in the link in my bio on TikTok or link in my description on YouTube. Just click our Discord. You can drop in your question to our free relationship advice forum and ask it there. Now, as you can see, we got a few questions on the queue here that I have to answer before I can get to yours if yours is you ask your question today here. Now, if you're impatient and you don't want to wait the amount of days it's going to take for me to get through the queue, you can also skip the line of people by putting your question into our relationship advice premium section now. I'll be very clear. The only way you're allowed to put your question in here is if you first go to the link in my bio on TikTok or link in my description and click where it says Premium Discord Relationship Advice. There, you're going to donate to the show, and you're also going to put in the title of your username and the title of your question. Once you do that, you'll be able to then go into our Discord and drop your question in there with the same title. And I will get a notification on my phone. I'll see that that's you. I'll be able to verify that you're supposed to be in our private section. And then I will read your question out and you'll get to skip the line. All right. For those of you who want to ask me a question, but you don't want your information to be on the show, you also have an option. This is our private relationship advice here, where you can click this link, which is in our Discord. It's also in the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. click where it says private relationship advice. Ask your question to me. You type it out and send your question into me. I respond with a voice message and I send it back to your email and no one else sees it. So you have multiple different options if you want to send me in a question. Let's start off with our first premium question here today, which comes from Cloud Babe. Slow burn and soft package. What package? What package? Okay. I have had an ongoing slow burn friendship with flirtation with a guy that I helped develop his brand identity design for 3 years now. That's an actual job at a company, right? I hope you got paid for that. That's a job. It's a very important job too. We have hooked up once in the year. So you gave him his brand identity and you gave him some. Okay. First year. And then his ex purposely got pregnant to lock him down. We're going to start it like this. This is how we're going to start it off. That's okay. Let me try and be nice when that's not how that works. Okay. An ex, a woman doesn't get pregnant purposely to lock a guy down unless that guy chooses to bust a nut in her. I have to be graphic with it. You're saying this as if it was some sort of act, we're talking about an ex here. So there definitely was intention on his part. Okay. I don't think that it's I think that he told you a different story than actually happened when we're talking about an ex. Okay. Because miscommunications like that usually don't happen. Okay. That just doesn't make a lot of logical sense. Why would an ex randomly want to? Anyways, let's go on. He decided to try and make things work with her. I got into a 2-year relationship and we maintained friends and a working relationship. You're not actually friends because you slept together. You're just pretending to be. It's okay. Then my relationship ended and I moved back to the area. We continued, but I always had a crush, continued being friends. He then told me he is hooking up with his assistant, which broke me. So this guy that you're working with is not only has hooked up with you, but is hooking up with his assistant as well. This guy's pretty unprofessional. He seems to only exclusively work with people who he'll sleep with. That sounds like an HR problem waiting to happen. It already is, actually. What am I saying? But it's his company. 6 months later, we realized our strong feelings for each other and have verbalized it over a series of months. Push and pull. We ended up pulling the trigger and engaging in Squirtle. Squirtle is your thing. Pineapples is the act, okay? 2 times. Both times, he has had a hard time getting and staying excited, if you know what I mean. I know what you mean. His energy is very passionate and he claims to love it, but I feel like I don't know why this problem has actually prevented us from really engaging in full pineapple action. I tried to walk away because I felt like maybe he isn't interested, but he basically begged me not to. What could this mean? You're asking me why a guy has ED? Oh, okay, I guess we're going to go to a little bit of medical school here. Well, so ED can happen for a multitude of reasons as it relates to a guy, some of which might be unrelated to you, some of which might be related to you. So let's just go through a few of them. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. The first reason could be, maybe something's going on with his health, but for the most part, he got his ex pregnant, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be a health thing. But as it relates to you and maybe his relationship with you, it could be that he's nervous. It could also be that he maybe knows that he's doing something wrong, right? If he's too much in his head about anything, whether it be his relationships, his relationship with you, maybe he feels he shouldn't be doing this. If he's in his head too deep, it may also not work. And that could be a factor contributing to what's going on here. It doesn't happen with every guy, but it does happen with some guys. And it's kind of like there's a snowball effect. As you're in your head and you're not able to get up, you're in your head more because of whatever you were in your head about, and then you're also now in your head that you're not able to get up, then the more you focus on trying to get up, the more you're in your head. So then the harder it makes it to get up, and then it's just a snowball effect. So that could also be happening as well. Some sort of subconscious pressure that he has on himself about what he's doing or whatever the case may be. But even aside from that, I don't even think that this is a situation that you should be involving yourself in. So I actually think that the universe is blessing you by not continuing to have him penetrate you and have you become digmatized, where you will start doing and saying crazy stuff to be with him, when I don't at all think that he has any intention of dating you or being in a romantic relationship with you. So then my question becomes, what's the actual point of anything you're doing here? You're sleeping with the guy who you work with and are kind of friends with, but not really friends because you've slept together before? What's the point? There is no point. You're just going in circles with the guy who's never going to date you. So how about we use this as a sign that it's actually time for you to move forward and not continue to revisit a situation with him? I know that's not what you want to hear, but I actually think that there's a reason that this is happening. And if he's in his head this much, it's probably because he has other things going on in his life that you don't know about. And my guess would be it has something to do with this ex, and probably another thing to do with that assistant as well, right? When you're in so much of a mess and your life is in such a mess, let me tell you as a guy, one of the easiest times to get up, get excited, and do some work is when your life is in order, as strange as that sounds. When your life is in order or you're getting wins in life, trust me, it's easy to get up then. When you're stressing because you ain't been doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's actually the hardest to actually get up at those times because you're in your head about so much you can't even think straight. So I'll just leave you with that. So if there's a lot going on with him, it's probably a contributing factor to why his thing's not working right. Okay? Right? Because, I mean, you guys have hooked up before. Let's go on to our next question here. Our next question comes from, let's see here. Our next question comes from Null, okay? I seen you guys were saying that I should answer this. I hope Null is here to get her question answered. All right, so the title is Stretch, Pray First, How to Overcome Addiction, Use as an Example and a Cautionary Tale, okay? Excuse me? Please help me. I would like your strategy on how to heal and how to let go of this addiction. What type of addiction are we talking about? Are we talking about like you're digmatized? That's what I feel like you're about to go here. I am a 32-year-old straight female. Okay, I like that you mentioned straight. All right. I recently was dumped by a 29-year-old, okay, that's why you mentioned it, bisexual male who is best friends with his ex-girlfriend. Ex-girlfriends, you actually said. So multiple. We were together for 1.8 years. Okay. Sorry, there's a lot of, I'm trying to understand all the connections. He broke up with me because he was unhappy. What was he unhappy about? That he wanted his butt stuffed? We were both toxic and unhappy, and I was jealous, insecure, and controlling. He didn't want to respect my boundary for not hanging out one-on-one with his female friends since middle school. Like, you had this boundary of him hanging out with his female friends. You didn't like that. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Thing about you being with someone who's bi, you have to worry about both now. So the thing about it is, the more free you are in your spirit and your thought process, actually the more boundaries are required to have healthy relationships. So when you're bi, now you need more boundaries to put on the relationship to be more clear on what's okay and what's not okay, which is ironic because usually the people who are in that state, they want the least amount of boundaries. So when he ended it, he told me he always knew I was too good for him. That's a manipulation tactic. And that while he can change for me, he won't be happy doing it. And he would need to fundamentally change who he is as a person. Okay. While I was unhappy with him and I know he wasn't my ideal partner, because I couldn't accept him being friends, best friends with his ex-girlfriends and him being bi, I still miss him. And he used to treat me like a queen by being generous and taking me on trips. This feels like an addiction/obsession. Well, you're saying that you just miss the memories that you have with him, really, and the good times, right? You're acknowledging the ways that he's not the partner for you now, but you're just saying what you miss is the fact that you had good times together, which that's not really, I don't consider that an addiction. You just miss the person or the relationship that you had when things were going well, which we all would. A part of me wanted him back, and it's so hard to accept it because I don't love myself and have no self-respect, dignity, or self-worth. Okay, that changes things. I begged for him back. Okay, that changes a lot. After he broke up with me. Okay, now we're getting somewhere very bad. Things did not improve. He started hanging out solo with his childhood female friend. He yelled at me, hung up on me, and blocked me because he didn't want me contacting him when he was going to a concert with his middle school female friend who is newly single. I know I focus on the female friends, but I forget he likes men too. This is why I say situations like this are just ultra confusing because there are no platonic friends here. Everyone is on, is a suspect, if that makes any sense, right? A suspect to be likely a non-platonic friend, right? It's very difficult to set boundaries in a situation like this, it's no diss, but it's so hard to set any boundaries now because what is okay and what's not okay, right? Alexandra said everyone's the op. Literally, everyone's the op. So everyone's confused. I don't even everyone's on the other side. Also, he let his best friend ex-girlfriend spend the night in his apartment with his guy roommate, and I didn't want to be there because I made him and his best friend's ex-girlfriend, she cheated on him, uncomfortable. When I first met her, this was month 11 of our relationship. And I know I should have ended it then, but I was weak. See, the thing about this is I don't even know I couldn't tell you what to look for. I don't know what the soft spot is. I don't know what he's trying to accomplish because I don't even know who he wants. We're talking about his best friend and his best friend's ex-girlfriend. I don't even know which one of those he wants or if he wants both. So I don't even know what he was trying to do by being sneaky and go behind his best friend's back, or if he actually wanted the best friend and that was just an excuse or an out to get the best friend there. I don't even know if he wanted both of them at the same time. Okay, so I'm confused too, right? We just know there are no boundaries in a position like this. That's the main point. Please use me as an example and please speak some sense into me. Give it to me straight, harsh, and sternly. Okay, I need it. Okay, I know I am unhealed, committed to doing the work, but I realize that I'm lazy and I'm uncomfortable with doing this hard work. Oh, was that the message? Okay, the rest was just responses. Okay, no. Hear me. Okay. We're going to put you through a program here real quick, right? You can rewind this, make this easy on yourself so you don't have to put any thought into this. First thing you got to do in a situation like this, got to block and delete him on everything. Block his Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, everything. Okay, block his Cash App if you have it. Right. Block his PayPal if you have that too. If you have his Netflix account on your phone or on your TV, get it off of there too. Take all of his clothes, merchandise, toothbrushes, socks, underwear, anything he's had at your place. Gather them up, put them in a trash bag. Any snacks he's eaten at your place or any snacks he likes. I don't care if he likes Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You put it in the trash bag as well. You're going to take all of this stuff to a local and public trash bin that is not in your building and not close to your house. You're going to dump all of that stuff there. Okay, you're gonna go come back to your house. You're gonna go on your phone and your computer. You're gonna delete all your pictures and videos of him on your phone. You're gonna go to your hidden albums. You're gonna delete them off of there as well. You're gonna go to your Snapchat memories. You're gonna delete all your pictures and videos of him there as well. You're gonna delete all your screenshots of conversations you've had with him on your phone as well. You're also, and this is a very important point, I want you to even go into your music app. Okay, whether you use Apple Music or you use Spotify, you're gonna go through your music app. Any playlists you have saved that you shared with him, delete those. Any music that reminds you of him, delete that as well. Any music that he's put you on, delete that as well. Okay? Delete everything. Then you're going to go onto your computer. You're going to delete all pictures, videos, and screenshots of conversations off of your phone as well. Off of your computer as well. You're going to wipe that out. Make sure you go into your recycle bin and clear that out as well, so it's not in your recycle bin, right? Snow said he's blocked on Discord. I should have mentioned that. If you have him on Discord, you're going to block him off of there. You're going to even remove yourself out of any chats that you share with him in terms of any groups that he's in and you're in as well, right? So you're not even tempted. The other very important thing as it relates to these friends and these friend groups, right? You're going to have to make a very clear decision here. If these are his friends in this friend group, you might have to unfollow them too. And I know that's going to be painful, but if you're actually going to work yourself through this man and not be tempted to message him, you don't want to have any sort of temptation. So not having temptation is also about understanding how that can present itself in your life. If the friends are a trigger for you because they post pictures of him, post videos of him, hang out with him still, go ahead and unfollow them too. And if you need to, block them if you find yourself checking their stuff, okay? That way you don't get tempted by seeing them post pictures of him on your timeline, and then now all of a sudden you want to, message him and talk to him, okay? Null said in the chat, said they are not my friends. Perfect. Even easier to not even just unfollow them. You can even block them if you want, right? Since they're not your friends, it doesn't concern you how they feel about you anyways. Even better and more, and provide you with more clarity, right? We want to get rid of any avenue that will allow you to go backwards. The other thing important as well, tell your own close friends that this is what you're doing, right? You don't want to speak to him anymore. You don't want to talk to him. That way they're aware if he ever reaches out to them that they should not relay the message to you. They should not tell you about it, and they should not try to help him or help him get in contact with you, okay? Make sure that's very clear to your friends as well, because that's the scheme that guys will use if they want to get in contact with you and they know you're trying to have some self-respect now. Okay, so make sure you clear that up as well. If he knows any of your family members, do the exact same thing with your family members. That way they're all aware that you're moving your life forward and there's no emergency, there's no situation, there's no nothing that he could say or bring to you that would bring you back to talking to him or having a conversation with him, okay? I'm giving you that detailed of a step-by-step. That way you can rewind it and not be confused about what you should do moving forward. Okay. And you can just say, okay, Tomisin said to do this and do that and do that. I'm going to do it. And I promise you, if you do that exactly how I said it, you will be in a better place as time goes on. I promise you. Okay. But you have to do it exactly like that. And you can't skip out on any steps or do anything differently. You have to make sure you cut out all the ties that he has to your life. And that way you can start moving your life forward. And then the last thing after you do all that would be start building your daily and weekly routine that consists of not staring at your phone and looking through his Instagram. Okay, so we need to get you having a regular routine for your life that doesn't allow you to sit around and just be bored. Okay, not that you have to be so busy your eyeballs are bleeding, but we want you to have a schedule. Even if that schedule is at 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., I'm going to watch Netflix for 2 hours or watch my favorite show. Then have that be part of your schedule. Have things to do, right? Things that you actually want to accomplish in the day. That way you can build a routine out of those things and not just be sitting in your bed staring at the wall and saying, I'm so bored. Because that's the moment you go message him, I guarantee you. Okay. Let's go on to our next message here. We just did no. We just did that. I think we literally did exactly that. Was this like a second message? Like a duplication message? We kind of answered this. I just want to skim through it because I just kind of gave you the game plan. Let's see here. Let me just make sure. Give me the game plan. Someone please help me. I need to move on. Wait, what? I just want to move on and reclaim my birthday and not think about him anymore. I know you will still have anxious thoughts. Okay, if you're talking about not wanting to message him or anything like that, it's the same thing, right? It's the exact same. It's the exact same process. Okay. All right, let's go on to our next message here. We did the game plan one. Okay. Oh my goodness. Here is Anna. Maybe this is a different Anna. Okay, I think it's a different Anna. First love theory. Is it true that men can never forget their first love, even if she cheated? And what are the signs that he is not over his ex? Well, first love is a thing that people want to make magical, but it's not necessarily that magical. The first person you love doesn't necessarily mean that they were the person for you or the person that you should have been in a relationship with. So just because you love someone first, that doesn't mean that they were the best love for you, which is perfectly fine. But that's the reality of the first love. Okay, any mature person understands that. And just because someone was your first love, that doesn't mean that that's the person you were meant to be with in any way, shape, or form. Okay, in fact, that probably means it was a stepping stone. Second thing to that is, what are the signs that he's not over his ex? Well, you have to have conversation about the ex, right? That's one of the biggest conversations you're going to have is the past relationship, why it ended, okay, specific questions, why it ended, right? Where they are now, like where they stand now, what the situation is, and where his life is at. Does he work with his ex? Or is he still friends with his ex? Like, do they share the same friend group? These are the type of questions you need to ask. In response, you're going to notice one of two things. Either a guy can tell you clearly and in detail what's going on with his ex, what happened in the relationship and where they are now in a way that makes sense to you and, sounds, the logic train all fits together neatly. And you don't notice anything weird, or you're going to start noticing strange behavior like him trying to avoid answering that question or saying things to you like, oh, why do we need to keep talking about my ex? I don't want to keep talking about her. I'm here with you. I'm only focused on you. Anytime a guy tries to avoid talking about his ex or saying I'm only focused on you and only focused on right now, it's because one of two things. He either doesn't want you to realize the type of person he is when he describes to you his relationship with his ex, or number two, he doesn't want to revisit the conversation of his ex because he knows he's going to spill the beans of how invested and in love he is with his ex still. So it's really one of those two things why he's not trying to tell you what's really going on there. All right. Let's go on to our next question here. Make sure we get through all of these. Why does this not mark as red? Okay. Pretty Kitty Rach? Pretty Kitty Rach? Okay. 23-year-old virgin having trouble in the dating scene. You're a 23-year-old virgin and your username is Pretty Kitty Rach. Okay. Hi, Thompson. I am 23 and a Christian. Okay. My relationship with God includes my belief on waiting until marriage. Okay. Also, for personal reasons, as I want a man that I deem worthy and fully committed to me before I share that part of myself. However, I've never had a boyfriend or even held hands with a man romantically. Okay. Is that weird? No comment. I believe I'm a fairly attractive woman, but I haven't gotten much attention from serious men. Just lots of men I've met at clubs and bars, and I went to my friends. I went with my friends, in college, but I don't take these men seriously. Okay, I know you're just sending in your message and telling, your story, but if you're looking for a man of God, not a problem with that. You should be spending as little time as possible in a club or a bar. Now, I know you're going there because, your friends go to college and that's where they spend their time. But I'm just setting matters, right? You're not going to find the man that you're looking for in a club or a bar. It just doesn't. Not that men of God don't go to clubs or bars, but the chances of you finding the guy you're looking for there, very slim. I graduated earlier this year, but I felt most men didn't approach women because they're used to dating apps or wanted princess treatment. Why aren't we? Are we not going to incorporate the church? You know that You know that single men also go to the church, right? Like they go to church. If you go to a fairly decent sized church, there's going to be men around your age there that are also single. You do know that, right? I'm a little bit confused here. Other than that, others just didn't meet my standards. Why? Okay. I had a few questions for when I do get into a relationship. Where do you suggest I can meet wealthy Christian men outside of church? Okay, what's the problem with meeting the man in church? I don't understand. The perfect place for you to meet the man is in church. Am I losing it, or am I confused, chat? The perfect place for you to be meeting men is in church. Now, I'm not saying you turn your church into a dating, a dating site, but if you go, okay, let me help you kind of restructure this. If you actually want to meet more men, and you want to meet a man of God, my advice to you, find a larger church to go to. Because obviously the larger the church you go to, the more people there are to meet. There's also a thing, I don't know how to really describe it, but there's these more like modern day churches where it'll be like what we can describe as a young people church. So usually in these major cities, they'll have a couple of these around where they're like a young people church for more like a modern version of church, if that makes any sense. The pastor won't necessarily be wearing a suit. He might be wearing more like business casual clothes and things like that. I say that to say, if you live close to a major city, there's probably a church like that. And that's a great place to meet men who are like you want, men of God, right? But also obviously around your age and not grown men with families. But you're going to need to actually be strategic about going to those type of places in order to meet those type of men. And I don't think for what you want, right, and what you're looking for, I honestly don't think you should be meeting men anywhere else but church. I really mean that, because you're looking for a very specific, very unique type of man, very centered in his values and what he wants out of a relationship and, his relationship with God. The perfect place to meet that type of man is in church. Really and truthfully, anywhere else is going to be, you're going to have slim pickings, right? To get that type of man. Not that it's impossible, but the best place to meet him is in church. So you saying you want to meet him in a place that's not church is not going to do what you want it to do there. Okay. Especially for what you're looking for specifically. I plan on joining the young adults group at this new church I go to. Perfect. So exactly what I was saying. But other than that, I have no idea how I can meet them. It's okay. It's okay. You join the young adults church, go there and just experience. Don't be in a rush that, oh my God, I've got to go to a place that's a singles meetup where all the men are there ready to date women right now in this second. Just don't be in that state, right? It's going to be very unattractive and you're going to be so anxious, you won't even be able to come across how you want to come across, okay? You're already going to the new church. You're already joining the young adults group, okay? That's perfect. Just allow yourself the freedom to meet people as you will meet people in this environment. This is the environment where you're most likely even going to meet the guy that you're looking for anyways. So don't be in a rush that I have to have 35 different places where I can go to meet men. Because trust me, if I advise you to go to a club or a bar, you ain't going to meet many men of God there, just to be real with you, right? Even if I advise you, go to the grocery store, go to the gym, right? You might meet good men there, but you're looking for a specific man of God, right? You're not necessarily going to meet men who are also men of God at the gym. It's possible, but you're also going to have to sift through the men who might just be good men, but might not necessarily be the type of man that you're specifically looking for. So rather than having to sift through all these different men in different places that aren't exactly what you're looking for, why not just join the group that has the highest percentage of men that you're looking for and let it go from there? You understand what I'm saying? I'm in graduate school and will be making well into 6 figures in healthcare. I want a man that makes more than me or at least the same, right? So you're looking for something very specific, like I said before, mostly because I want him to be ambitious and have a certain mindset and provide for us and our children. Also, because I don't want to have to deal with the man's ego if I make more than him. You should only be meeting a man in the church, truthfully. Should I tell him that he is my first BF? Wait, what? Who? Oh, you're talking about the guy that you eventually meet. Should I tell him that he's my first BF kiss when we get to that stage? I don't think I think it's one of those conversations where, yeah, you can be honest with him when you guys are sharing about your past histories and things like that. But I don't think it's something that you need to come out and say on the very first date. I think it's better to just feel out guys first. And then as you get to know them better, then you can start sharing these things with them. I also don't think if you're meeting a true man of God, I don't think that will be on the front of his mind anyways. So I don't even think that's necessarily a conversation you need to have at the very beginning. Obviously, as time goes on, you get to know each other better. You share more things with each other. And as you feel you can trust him with more things. But I don't even think that this would be, if he was a man of God, I don't even think this would be a conversation that you guys are really having very early on anyways. Okay. And trust me, someone even said it, right? A man of God would even enjoy that. So it's not even a problem anyways. Obviously, I'd end up telling him at some point that I'm waiting and he'd be my first then. Even better. Okay. Everything aligns. So it doesn't even matter. But not even a conversation that needs to be had on the first couple of dates. All right. When should I tell him that I'm waiting? Like second or third date? My advice to you would be play it by ear. I know that sounds very ambiguous, but let the relationship develop first, right? See if you have a connection first and see first, because the problem becomes if you're rushing to give him a whole bunch of information, you might not get what you want out of the relationship because he might just mirror you and what you're saying you want. So we want to use the first couple of dates to see what he wants first, what he's looking for out of a relationship. What level of intention does he have without any of the background information of you and what you're looking for? That way you can gauge for yourself as a woman, where is he lying? What is he looking for? And where is he looking to go here? Right? That's always the best place to be, with having all the information without ever giving too much information. So my advice to you, this should come maybe down the line. Let's say for the sake of having something solid, I would advise you, let it be 4 dates or more. Okay. Before you say anything about this, let's assume you go on 1 date a week. So this should be after month number 1 that you start mentioning how many people you've slept with and things like that, right? Doesn't mean you can't share with him the way you feel about certain things, but we want to refrain from oversharing and allow men to show their hand first so that you can get a gauge on what they're really about. Okay. I don't want to hold his hands until we're officially dating. Okay. 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 First of all, for you, you don't look anywhere else but in a church for a man. Nowhere else. There's no point for you and what you're looking for, because I'm not here to tell you the difference between right and wrong. For you and what you're looking for, you cannot look anywhere else but a church for a man. I really mean that. I just have to be real with you so your expectations aren't, you're not very disappointed. Because I'll be real with you. Any man that's not a really, really strict man of God is just he's not gonna want to date you in this like this. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with you, and I'm not saying you have to change your boundaries or what you expect from a man. I'm just telling you, any casual man, especially even a man that's not really, really strong in his faith, is not really gonna go through with dating you. Right? If you don't want to at least hold hands until you're officially dating. I'm just being honest with you. I have to in order for me to actually help you. Okay. If that's what you're okay with, understand you're looking for a very specific type of man with very specific qualities. And I'm telling you, as a man who's, seen a lot in this world, that type of man does not exist anywhere outside of the church. Even in the church, you're looking for something very specific. Okay. So your vetting process needs to be very detailed, very extenuous, and you can't mess around in your vetting process, because the type of man you're looking for is so disciplined. He probably has never even busted a nut. Okay, you're looking for the ultra of most disciplined, which is fine, but just understand you don't even waste your time looking anywhere else but the church if that's what you want. And those are your boundaries. I'll be super real with you. I've heard another influencer mention this, and I think it's a good idea that could help with pacing. Yeah, I agree. That can help with pacing, but you're going to need a man who's very intentional, very serious in his faith, and walking the same path as you. So don't even bother looking anywhere outside the church, really and truthfully. I also would ideally not kiss him until we're at least 3 months into dating, as I want to move slow, and kissing is the only thing we will be doing until we're married. So I don't want him to feel like the relationship is stagnant if we do that early on. Do you think this is realistic though? Am I supposed to, oh, wait, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Am I supposed to give you the real answer, or do you want me to tell you what you want to hear? Chat, let me know. Should I give her the real answer, or should I tell her, be a little bit more kind with it, and a little bit softer with it? Tell me in the chat, because I don't know which one to do here, which answer to give here, and give it to her, right? I can, soften it up a little bit, so that she can get what she wants and hopefully find what she's looking for, or I can give the real answer. I want to see which one I'm supposed to go with here, because I want to be helpful. Okay. All right. You guys said be real. Okay. Realistically, Pretty Kitty Ranch, you're not really going to find a lot of guys who will be willing to go to this level of depth with you. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but really and truthfully, like the expectation that, okay, I get you don't want to sleep with a guy until you get married. Perfectly fine, right? That's not anything strange. But the not even holding hands until we're officially dating, that becomes an extreme where, not saying you won't find guys like this, but it's so extreme that many guys will say, they're not even ready to invest that much in someone that the relationship is that strict. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's a balancing act, because everyone likes affection, right? And I understand that it's your religion and things like that. So I'm never going to tell you that that's wrong or you should change your boundaries or anything like that. All I will say is it's going to be very hard to find someone who will agree with that, right? That doesn't mean you have to change your boundaries. But since it's going to be very hard to find someone who, will agree with this, you need to be honest with yourself and not even bother looking for any guy outside of the church. I really mean that. Don't even don't try to go to no club, no bar. Like, just think of it as anytime you go to the club or the bar and talk to a guy, just think of it as it's just a waste of time. I'm just doing this, for fun and enjoyment, to just chit chat. Don't even bother getting his number. Don't bother giving out your Instagram. Don't bother doing none of that. Right? Even when guys come up to you, in school or around anywhere, right? Or on dating app, just don't even bother. Don't even bother. Okay. Unless you're getting on a specific Christian dating app, right? For Christian men, to meet Christian men, that's the only time where you should even be bothering entertaining the casual guys you're going to see around. Because the reason I say that is because the casual guys you're going to see around are never gonna, they're never going to stick around long enough for this to even build up in anything. That's me having to be real with you. Like, no guy who, even guys who are religious, and I know a lot of religious people, whether it's Muslim, whether they're Christian, whatever they are, right? Catholic, whatever. Majority of even religious men will not stick around long enough to say, I'm not going to even hold hands with you until we start dating. Like, I just have to be super real with you. But that doesn't mean you have to change your boundary. All it means is you're looking for something very specific, and you ain't going to find that anywhere else but the church. Okay? So understand that what you want is what you want, but you're going to have to be very meticulous to find that. And just understand it's probably going to take you some time. You seem to be in a rush to meet the man that you want to spend, the rest of your life with. And I have to caution you, based on your criteria, you're going to have to sift through a lot of what you would consider garbage or men that you don't want. Even in the church, you're going to have to sift through a lot of men, meaning there's going to be a lot of men who disqualify themselves because they can't move at this pace. And so you need to know that what you want, as me being real and the chat wanted me to be real, you're gonna spend years trying to find the man that you're looking for that will, be aligned with you in all of these things. Not that that's a bad thing, but I want to settle your expectations to a place that is more realistic, so that your frustration doesn't, make you lose your mind. Because if you're not prepared to really bunker down and be in it for the long haul in terms of finding the right person for you with all of those qualities, you're going to be very frustrated. Don't have it in your mind you're going to meet this guy in the first week of you joining the youth group, because I can assure you, the majority of the men in that youth group ain't doing this. I'll just be real with you. No matter how much they say they are close with their relationship with God. Okay. So just understand that, and understand that your vetting process needs to be very detailed and very deep and very meticulous. And if you're really going to hold yourself to that standard, hold yourself to that standard, but understand most men will not be holding themselves to that standard. Nothing wrong with that. But be okay with having to turn a lot of men down. That's what I'll say to that. Okay. All right. I hope that that helps you and helps you understand, how to go about that. And like I said, nowhere else are you going to find that outside of the church. Not a chance. So don't even bother. Okay. All right, chat. That's the show for today. For those of you who have a question for me, feel free to send them in, whether it be into our premium section, our free section, or our private section. All of those links are available in the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just Tomisin_tub there. And you can follow me on Instagram. It's also in the link in my description on YouTube for those of you who want to follow me on Instagram. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to rewatch the show because you missed any parts of the show or you came late, my YouTube is just Tomisin Atobatele. You can just type in my first name, Tomisin on YouTube. Go into the live section. You'll be able to see this live stream and all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. And the best part is you'll have the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded in the video, so you won't miss a second of conversation there that we have on the show. All right. For those of you who are wondering what times I'm on every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to figure out when you can catch me on again, it'll be tomorrow at 4 p.m. EST. You got to figure out what time that is in your time zone. Okay. Until we meet again tomorrow and see each other again at 4 p.m. EST. Goodbye for now. I bid you adieu. Arrivederci. Au revoir. Hasta la vista. Sayonara. Ciao. Salam. Adios. Bon voyage. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you. Oh, let me make sure I do. Did I do that nation? Oh yeah, I did, Nicole's. Okay. Bye, chat. I see you later.